Hey everyone, Bryce Kuhn here alongside Ralph Leary. Ralph, it's good to have you on Monday. We had a little bit of a delay, but we're back and better than ever. Here we're on Facebook Live, we're on Twitter, and we're on YouTube. We appreciate you watching wherever you are tuning in tonight. And first off, Ralph, we're going to talk a little bit about this month. It's been good for fans here in the Southeast, I might say. College football ramping back up. We're officially now, we'd say about 2 to 3 weeks into fall practice. We're also about 2 to 3 weeks before the start of college football season. Season actually starts 10 days from today with that week 0 matchup. And then we're going to have, obviously, the Labor Day weekend, which is going to be fun and fantastic as well. But baseball season as well is good. Ralph, this time of the year is my favorite. Would you agree? Do you have a better favorite time of the year? The tail end of baseball season, pennant race, especially for Braves fans. We're going to talk about that tonight. And then the start of college football.
I mean, there's no better time of the year. You get started college football. If you're an NFL fan, you get started NFL football. And you got playoff baseball coming up. September, in August to all of September, it's just, playoffs are on your mind right now. So you got September call-ups coming up. You get to see some of these young guys play and hope you contribute to their teams, all that stuff. So it's an exciting time of the year for everyone.
It's an exciting time of the year. We talk about some of the reasons why, especially here in the state of Georgia, Ralph. The Atlanta Braves are heating up, and they're looking really good right now. And Ralph, we've talked about this for the past couple of weeks. I know we had some comments that I didn't quite understand how we got there, but we'll leave that for later. For you, tell us how we got here. The trade deadline impact has been well received, and the biggest thing is through this Marlins series that we're currently sitting in right now, Duvall with an absolute tank. Was it 445 feet, something like that? He dented a food cart.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
You got to think, though, a few months ago, he was playing for the same team. And, obviously, it's a weird thing because last year he played for the Braves and he was killing the Braves this whole season. And then when he comes back to Atlanta, he goes to Miami and starts killing them in the Marlins. So my thing with Duvall right now is that whoever he just played with, he's going to beat them, obviously. So I really do think, though, Bryce, I've been saying it for the past few weeks, but like, it starts with your pitching, and the pitching has been insane lately. Drew Smiley, Charlie Morton, Max Fried, Touki Toussaint, all of them been dealing. And then you got Huascar Noah back who pitched last night, and obviously you used to see Noah go at least almost 7 innings. He went 5 1/3, gave up no runs and struck out 6, I believe. He had one of the best outings all year, and he's been gone for 3 months almost. So Noah came out there, had a great outing his first time back, and now we're looking here, and we're going into middle of August, almost into September, with our full rotation back. Ian Anderson comes back next week, I believe. So you're talking about a full rotation, adding an extra guy into the bullpen with Touki or Noah, whoever they move into the bullpen. And then you got your full lineup back now. Darno's back. You got a great pop off the bench with Amante and Heredia, who switched out with Jock Peterson. This whole Braves lineup right now is looking dangerous.
It's looking dangerous, like you said, and to me, that is the biggest thing, Ralph. Is it's looking dangerous. It looks a lot different. We talked about this Marlins series. What is the difference we've seen? We've seen Adam Duvall, and then your other outfield acquisition in Jorge Soler comes up with. I know we had Riley's home run. We can talk about that, but Jorge Soler, I mean, this is a guy who's known as a power guy, a pull hitter. He just pokes one out in the right field and gets us that first run of the ball game. So, listen, this is a big opportunity for Atlanta. To take a step. They're 2.5 games ahead of the Phillies right now. But one thing we're not really talking about with the Padres slipping as of late, Ralph, Atlanta has worked their way back into the wild card conversation. Now, obviously, you want to win the NL East. Yeah. You'd love to win it for 4 straight years. But they're sitting currently, it's 2.5 to 3 games out of a wild card spot. We know the Padres have been kind of beaten up recently. Fernando Tatis comes back. You would expect them to kind of pick it up, but they have some tough divisional games they have to play. Yeah, all of that said, this team is playing well, and you mentioned some of those pitchers. You have a guy that was just sent down to AAA that I still feel like has a lot of promise, could be called up if they just spot starting Kyle Muller, who has been fantastic this year, struggled as of late, but he owned it, Ralph. I don't know if you saw the interview. He said he owned it. He knew he needed to work on some things, but I think that this bullpen has taken a step. Obviously, I think Will Smith over the past week has gotten a little more confidence with some of those, especially last night's save. That was a big one for him. When you look at this bullpen, let's say they throw Touki in that role kind of as a long relief guy. Jesse Chavez has proven good. Tyler Matzik has found success with the fastball first mentality. We've watched a game together on Friday night into the early Saturday morning hours. Matzik, look, I mean, nearly unhittable. So this bullpen, you talk about pitching, starting pitching has done good. Well, they've gone later into ball games, but the pitching in the bullpen, they've also gotten some key outs, especially last night.
Yeah, I mean the bullpen has really stepped their game up, and obviously it comes at the right moment. We're all the beginning of the year. Bullpen's been just kind of depleted. They couldn't get throw strikes, couldn't get outs, and you're looking at a bullpen right now who's been unhittable almost. I mean, you're averaging 1 to 2 hits allowed per night out of your bullpen. That's all you ask for. Give me the rest of the game. Give me 1 or 2 hits, no runs. I can deal with 2 hits, 3 hits for people on base, but don't allow a run. That's all I care about. I mean, and Matzik, I think, he now at 16 scoreless innings now in a row. I think.
Yeah.
He's been unreal out of the bullpen for us, especially that lefty arm. You always want to have that dominant lefty arm on the bullpen, and he has been. And like you said, Will Smith, we've been saying for months. I'll be honest. I personally said it. Will Smith does not need to be the closer anymore, but as of late, he has proven himself correctly that he can still do it. He's not that elite arm that everyone expects a closer to be. He's not going to throw 102. He's not going to paint a slider on the outside corner at 91 miles an hour and expect to be a fastball. No, you're expecting a slow breaking ball that's going to break across the plate, and you're not going to be able to hit it because you're thinking it's going to be up high. It's going to drop to the hit the plate. So Will Smith has still done it. He's still going to do it. I still think he is a closer. I don't think he's the elite closer that most people think he can be. I still think he's got a lot left in him, though.
I still think he has a lot left. And look, we're spoiled, Ralph. I mean, you talked about guys that are 100, 102. You have Aroldis Chapman, who's been doing it for so long now. You have Josh Hader, who's got filthy stuff on the left side. He is a quality late-inning reliever. I mean, that's just the bottom line. That's what he is. Is he at the all-star level that he was 2-3 years ago? No. You would like to have a more surefire option. The addition of Richard Rodriguez is, I'll throw this up here because we've kind of already talked about it. Whether or not Atlanta advances far in the playoffs, just to make it this year with everything that's happened, arguably your most talented pitcher didn't ever get a chance to pitch in Mike Soroka, and you're one of the most talented top 5 players in all the game of baseball, only played 80 or 90 so games. Ralph, when you talk about what this team has, we have to go back and give credit to Alex Anthopoulos for what he did at the deadline. He didn't make the big move, but man, he made moves for depth that they really needed. And look, Eddie Rosario is a quality bench bat that's going to take the place. But I'll tell you one thing, Abraham Almonte, he's even been better, I feel like, in his bench role. We've seen some of these guys who stepped up. This team has the makings 1 through 9, and we hadn't talked about Travis d'Arnaud. That's like adding someone at the deadline. You got him back. He's been very good. Ralph, I don't feel like for d'Arnaud's sake, we've really seen him miss a beat after what was a 3-month layoff. I mean, he's had 2 doubles. He's got a home run. He looks good.
89 games, I think. 86 games he missed. Yeah, I mean, like you said, everything's just what Anthopoulos did was he just filled in pieces that they needed. I think you look at Richard Rodriguez. He's pitched 8 games in August. He has not allowed 1 run. He's allowed 4 hits, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. He gets a lot of ground ball outs, and that's what you ask for. I mean, I don't need him to go out there and strike outside for 4 or 2 innings straight. Give me 3 ground balls, and that's fine with me. Limit to your pitcher's throwing so you can pitch the next night or pitch another inning. So, I mean, even like Duvall and Soler in the outfield, along with Jock Peterson, who's been here just a little bit longer because he got traded first. That outfield, you look at your outfield right now with Atlanta, it is a complete curveball of what you had at the beginning of the year. You're talking about you had Pache, your up-and-coming center fielder, next Andrew Jones, what it was said. You had Ozuna in left field. We're not going to get into that conversation. And you had Acuna, like you said, the top 5, maybe top 3 player in baseball right now in right field, and he's out for the year with the ACL. You lose Pache to injury and slumping and the Ozuna situation. Now you got Jock Peterson, who was a former Cub, a guy who killed the Braves in the playoffs. You have you have Duvall in left, a former Brave, former Marlin. And then in right field, you have Jorge Soler, who was a dominant bat in 2019, if I'm correct. And, in his
2019, he hit 48 home runs.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's
the AL home run
I don't need him to hit 48. Okay, he's playing 16 games this year. He has 11 walks. Okay, get on base. He's our number 2 hole hitter, and right behind you is Freddie Freeman, who is the best hitter in baseball. And you want to argue that? We'll argue all day because
I'd say arguably the numbers wise, it may be Austin Riley right behind him. He's a close second. He's been that good.
There's no hitter like Freddie right now. I mean, I've seen people say like, there's no one can do what he does day in and day out. Austin Riley is an up-and-coming superstar to me. Not superstar. I won't give him that big one. An up-and-coming all-star, and he has been unreal this past few months, and he's seen the ball. It looks like a beach ball to him right now, honestly.
I'll go back to this, Ralph, because you just mentioned something I want to talk about. You talked about Austin Riley. You said you didn't want to put the superstar tag on him.
Yeah.
But, man, when you look at the numbers he's putting up, I mean, he arguably could end the season as statistically the best third baseman in the National League. And this is a guy who, I mean, I don't think it's out of question to say this is a guy who hit 30 home runs this year. What is he at, 26 right now? He hit number 26 last night?
He's at 26 right now.
26. I mean, he's what, a 295, 294, something like around that average. And RBI total, I'm thinking it's 70 to low 80s, high 70s, low 80s? 73. I mean, this is a guy who could conceivably hit 90 RBIs, 30 home runs. Ralph, we talked about it last year. Take me back to February, okay? Justin Turner's a free agent. And people are saying, the Braves need to sign him. Braves need to sign him. And Ralph, you and I both said, Austin Riley's potential, he's cheaper, and he can be the cleanup hitter, and we've started to see that. He's made some adjustments, and I've been very impressed with his power to the opposite field. It's easy for these guys to hit home runs pulling it, Ralph, and we've seen Riley absolutely destroy some, especially up in New York when they faced remember when they faced the guy that came in who was a position player, and he just tanked one. But you see what he did last night. Yeah, he was out in front of that pitch last night. He takes it opposite field. This lineup is dangerous when you, like you talked about, you had some players that you were missing. And another outfielder you threw out there, your 4 outfielders on the roster, you don't even have. Because count Ender Inciarte, who was essentially your 4th outfielder at the beginning of the year, and he's on a minor league contract with the Reds now. So it's just something that's it's interesting, and I think it's exciting to see. Ralph, we take a look ahead at Atlanta's schedule real quick. Go ahead. Yeah.
One thing. You tell me a team in baseball right now that has your middle infielders and your corner infielders who may hit all 30 home runs this year.
Yeah.
Do you tell me another team in baseball that does that right now? Because there's not one. The Braves have 2 middle infielders with 22-plus home runs. That's not normal, okay?
No.
Dansby Swanson with 24 home runs and has 72 RBIs and almost hitting 270. We did not expect that out of him. I said 15 home runs is a max for him every year. He's exceeded what he's doing. He is on a tear. Ozzy's heating up. Freddie's been heating up. Austin Riley is hitting out of this world, and D'Arnaud is getting to where he was last year, I feel like, mid-year. So,
and the thing is, D'Arnaud, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to put up those numbers. He can. The great thing about it, Ralph, we've seen is, this team was still struggling around 500 or below. You would think to yourself, oh gosh, D'Arnaud's going to have to come in, and the pressure on him would be to contribute big time immediately. But because of guys like Acuna who went down, Albies, Swanson, and Riley, and we knew Freeman was coming out of it. Those 3 for me are really the big ones that have stepped up in ways, like you said, we haven't seen them do that before.
Well, yeah, I mean, one thing I want to talk about is, big pressure. I think Almonte had a lot of pressure on him to be that right fielder, that left fielder for the Braves. Because, that's a lot of pressure for a guy who wasn't playing a lot lately. And for him to come off the bench and be a bench role or it's just a fill-in role, honestly, he has done very well at that. I think that's his perfect fit for the Braves. Give a day off to someone in the outfield he can play. You need a good lefty off the bench. He's there. I still think the Braves, to me right now, are the best team in the National League. East. I'm sorry, National League. I think the Giants right now are.
Yeah, the Giants looking pretty good.
Yeah, people talk about Dodgers, but we're sleeping on the Giants right now. The Braves right now, like you said, they're heating up at the right time. This is where you want to see a team just go on a run and just stay hot. I feel like the whole team is feeling it right now. And I think you're looking at a fan base that doubted this team all summer long, gave up on their players that we should sell. Let's just wait for next year.
A month ago, there were conversations if we should trade Freeman. I mean, that was yeah.
Who wanted Austin Riley back in AAA in May? What's wrong with you? I mean, you're telling me there's a better third baseman right now hitting than him in the National League right now?
People wanted Dansby Swanson. People seriously wanted Orlando Arcia to start over Dansby Swanson. I'm telling you, Ralph, we're going to talk some more later about college football, but we're so spoiled. We've talked about this. With college football, you take every single game and you can dissect it. You can't do that in 162 regular game season.
No, I mean,
you can't
lose a game. It's okay to lose.
You're going to lose
games
75 games and still possibly make the playoffs.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
People are crazy, Ralph. People are crazy. We're going to take a look ahead at Atlanta's schedule as well, Ralph. And right now, the Braves are doing exactly what they need to do against some of the lesser competition. I know people are saying, what's not all that impressive? They did against the Nationals, who resemble a AAA team, the Marlins, and they have the Orioles coming up for 3 games. But I would say, Ralph, well, what we've seen from Atlanta, they haven't done that against the lesser teams up until this point. They're blowing these teams out. They're playing well. When you look ahead at the schedule, they are in the they just started against the Marlins tonight. They'll have an off day tomorrow. And this weekend they head up to Baltimore. You and I talked about this dating back to Friday the 13th. And I don't want to scare you with that by any means. But I'll say this. You said conceivably, Bryce, you said they could win 9 straight. They could.
Yeah.
Now, if they get the sweep tonight, they'll just need another sweep from Baltimore. And how big would that? Because you look what they have on the docket. The Yankees at home. The Giants at home, on the road against the Dodgers to end the month of August and flip the calendar into September. Mm-hmm. Then, Ralph, you go to Colorado, which to me that's not easy because Colorado is last I checked, they were 38-21 at home. They also, of course, field is tough.
They're a great team to play at home. I would love to go to that series.
So
if you're a traveling fan, go. Please. Yeah. That's a fun series to go to.
We talked about tough schedules. Obviously, the Mets have probably the toughest one to round out the year. The Braves and Phillies is kind of matched up, where Atlanta has their easy spot now.
It's a walkthrough, honestly.
Yeah, the Braves have their easy spot right now. Philadelphia kind of has their easy spot towards the end of September. I mean, so when you look ahead at the schedule, how important is it for Atlanta to win tonight and really at least take 2 out of 3? Because, man, the confidence will be running at an all-time high, and I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that because of what this season has shown us. How, Ralph, do you feel like this season shakes out with the schedule? Because it's definitely has a tough part to end August and flip over to September.
Well, like I've been saying, this week is huge for Atlanta. If they can go and finish the sweep tonight against the Marlins, sweep Baltimore on the road, and you get the Yankees at home for Monday and Tuesday. If you take 1 or 2 out of the one or both games for the Yankees, that's huge enough. Because you're going riding high into San Francisco, which is probably your toughest series until you go to the L.A., which to me, I would understand this, and I think you would too. You go from you playing at home in Atlanta on a Sunday, and then you fly all the way to L.A., and you play that next game on Monday night at 10 o'clock. That's a big time change. I know they're probably used to it by now, but still, that's a difficult thing to do. And to take 1 or 2 against the Dodgers would be huge. I don't think the sweep's going to happen. But Atlanta's schedule in the end of the month, like you said, is probably one of the hardest schedules in baseball with facing the Giants and Dodgers back to back. I know the Mets are doing that right now, and I feel bad for them. Not really, but you got to win some of these games. You can't get swept. You have a Phillies team that's going to have a really easy schedule in September. You have to win some of these games.
You have to win some of these games, Ralph. You're no doubt about it. You kind of look right there if you can see and you're watching here on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. We appreciate you tuning in. You have the Yankees at home. You get that. You get the Giants at home, Dodgers, and then on the road to the Rockies. You get a small breather for about a week, I would say, with Washington, Miami. And I'd rather play Colorado at home because you don't have the Coors Field and everything that does. But then you have Giants. You get 4 games against Arizona, but the Padres, Phillies. So, look, it's going to be shaping up to be massive. We talked about it, Ralph, multiple times at length already. The Nationals did this 2 years ago. They struggled, and then they hit their stride. This is when you want to be playing your best baseball. Atlanta's doing that. We're going to take a second. We're going to go on commercial. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk about some college football. We got 2 little we'll do some myth busting. We're going to put on our magnifying glass. We're going to put on our detective hat, and we're going to get down back behind the scenes of some of these big things. And they're 2 big things. We may have some more if Ralph thinks of some more. If you have any comments, throw it in there. When we come back, we're going to talk about those here in just a second.
Cook's Place began serving our signature hot dogs in 1985 from a cart on Broadway. We still serve the best hot dogs and scrambled dogs in town at the corner of Moon and Miller Road and at the landings. Our friendly staff won't let you leave hungry. Come in and eat to the beat with our 50s jukebox. Cook's Place. Fast service, great people, awesome food. What are you waiting for?
Ralph, this final segment to wrap up the end of our show tonight. We appreciate everyone watching, sharing it on Facebook, Instagram, social media-wise as well. Follow us on there, and Twitter as well, and on YouTube. We're going to wrap up with some college football. We are 10 days from the start of college football season, that first Saturday, week 0. And I wanted to bring this up because obviously when we get into college football season, Ralph, a lot of our conversation that you and I are going to have, and we'll have some guests on throughout the season, is going to be surrounding the games and kind of some of those things. But I think it's fun to take a step back and look at some of these myths that have been created through social media, I feel like, in this new age. We're going to take a look at two of them. The first one, Ralph, is going to be that Georgia can't win a national championship. And I would say this, you and I talked about this. Obviously, we know the hype that Georgia fans place every single year. This is the year, this is the year. And we'll take a step back. We're not talking about the ragging between fan bases. I get that. We both get that. But why do we say that? What is, and I want you to help me answer this. Why do we say that Georgia can't win a national championship just because they haven't in 41 years? They have all the tools. They have the recruiting. They have the recruiting budget. Now, they just hadn't got over the hump, but you have to recognize the fact that they're playing across from an absolute dynasty that college football has never seen in Alabama. And some of the, I would say the height of college football is now because their guys are more athletic, they're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger. Yeah. So, Ralph, tell me, why do you think it's more of a fan base, just ragging thing? Or do you believe that Georgia has all the tools? And I'm not saying 2021, I'm just saying in general as a program, this team is a championship level program. In my opinion, they have the tools and the ability to do that.
If you don't think it's a championship program, something's wrong with you. You go look at the whole entire team. You're talking about some of the best players in the country who are on this roster. And you're talking about, they just got another tight end / wide receiver, and Eric Gilbert from LSU, who was the number one player in the country 2 years ago. So you're talking about a team that is extremely talented. They have the coaching staff to push them to get them to where they want to win a national championship. They have just the one problem every year, and it's just defeating that one game. It's always that one game that looms over Georgia, and it's never just Alabama. You always have that one game when you go in think it's a cakewalk, and it ends up being South Carolina or Florida or even Auburn this year. Auburn's on the road this year for Georgia. It's a tough place to play. Jordan-Hare is one of the most electric stadiums to play at night, and especially in the weekends when you have 87,000 fans going crazy. I don't think it's true. Georgia definitely can win a national championship, and I still think this could be their year. To all the Georgia fans out there, This is your year. If it's not, I don't know what to tell you. This is the year that Georgia should and can, because you have a very incredible quarterback with 5 running backs who could play on any other Division I program.
5 leading rushers returned.
Yeah. That and they can all start. They'd be starting running backs in any other Power 5 program, honestly. Mm-hmm. Zamir White is a workhorse. James Cook is one of the most dynamic running backs in the country. And then you got Kendall Milton and Kenny McIntosh, who are so young and so talented that they're going to be freaks in nature in the next 2 years. So Georgia's whole entire team is built around their offense this year, I think. We always say the defense has been so talented, but I think this offense is unreal. They have so many weapons this year. They're going to be able to put up a lot of points. And that's one thing I feel like has been Georgia's problem in the past few years, is not being able to put up points because their defense has been so well maintained, so talented. This is the year I think Georgia's offense can match that defense and match other defenses.
We're going to have a preview that's going to be recording tomorrow with Palmer Thomas. We're going to go about 30, 35 minutes full in depth about Georgia, what they have to do. Ralph, I wrote this down. I think I wanted to make sure I said this correctly. And to me, let's be clear. Any narrative along the lines of that Kirby Smart doesn't win a national championship this season in 2021, then he'll never win one, to me is completely short-sighted as a fan. To me, there is a foundation. And I know we talk about Georgia, with JT Daniels, but the talent is there. They have talent waiting in the wings at quarterback. I mean, you're really high on Carson Beck. They have Brock Vandegrift on the roster. They've got a 2022 commit in the young man from Raven County. Name slipping my head here. Gunnar Stockton. Gunnar Stockton. You almost said Gunnar Watson.
I did.
But no, it's in seriousness. The talent is there, and I think it just becomes a comparison factor. So when you talk about this season, to me, it's just in general, the talent gap is not wide. We've known that. I mean, think about the past couple times Georgia has played Alabama, who's conceivably, I think we all could say, the best team in the country. Okay, they played them in 2012. You want to go by that? They were 3 yards short from playing Notre Dame. That was a de facto semifinal game.
I think you could put any other team in the country against Notre Dame that would win the national championship.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. Except for the folks from Statesboro. Anyways, keep going with that. Keep going with that. I think when you look at what they've done, obviously the national championship game, the SEC championship game, none of these games they've played against Alabama are blowouts. Even last year's, Ralph, I was telling you the other day, I watched kind of a 20-minute full recap, simulated recap of what happened. That game was in very much command of Georgia until it kind of wasn't. And to me, the big thing was the quarterback position. Stetson Bennett, he made a couple mistakes, but that game the margin was not as wide as people thought. Tim Collins, we appreciate you tuning in. Go Dogs as well. Georgia fan there in the comments. But I think, Ralph, the idea that Georgia since they haven't won a national title since 1980, they'll never will, to me is just completely short-sighted. It's dumb. It's not a smart being a fan. I just don't believe that is quite that. We're going to move on to the next MythBuster, Ralph. This is more up your alley. The idea that a group of 5 team can't make a playoff. Now, I'm not talking about the 12-team playoff. I'm talking about the 14 playoff. Now, I want to say something, and I'll give this to you. The reason, to me, a group of 5 team has not made a playoff, there's a lot of factors, obviously, that have to go into it. And I'll say this year, I think, is the best shot for a group of 5 team to make a playoff. And I'll tell you why in a second. And I'm getting excited because we're talking about college football.
I love it, dude.
I love it. You talk about these teams that we haven't seen a group of 5 team ranked as high as Cincinnati was this year at the 8th spot. Cincinnati's season, no team has been ranked that high. No team has had games on their schedule where they could circle and say, hey, we play 2 Power 5 top 25 programs. Cincinnati plays 2 of them this year, Notre Dame and Indiana. And they also would have to potentially face a top 25. At least we'll just say benefit of the doubt out of the American Conference, maybe probably 2 more top 25 teams. We'll just say maybe it's UCF, maybe 3. Who knows?
You got Tulsa. Tulsa was ranked last year at one point, so Tulsa could be good.
Yeah, you have quality. The idea that a group of 5 team, just because they haven't made it, can't, I just don't think all the chips have aligned. We haven't seen all the stars align for them to do that. This year it has with that number 8 ranking for Cincinnati for them to have an opportunity because they're already ranked that high, Ralph. They're only sitting 4 spots out. You get some help from some other teams. You have some teams underperform. You're not I'll say this. You're not having to work from a number 17 ranking where they may bump you up to 15. They may bump you to 12, what we've seen in previous years. This is a Cincinnati team. If let's say they run the table going undefeated, to me, there's no reason they can't move up 4 spots over the course of a 14-week season.
Well, and if they don't, it's because you have 4 dominant teams from the Power 5 conferences that are undefeated. One's undefeated. All 4 are undefeated for some reason, and that's the only way I would see Cincinnati not making it. But this is the one year I think that you will not have 2 SEC teams be able to be considered top 4. And I'm not going to say what teams I'm talking about. I still think the SEC is the greatest conference right now in college football. If you don't believe me, you haven't watched football in the past 20 years. College football right now is the point where if you're not those big brand Power 5 conference teams or teams in general, you're going to get overlooked. Cincinnati is not that big brand right now because they're not a Power 5. They're not playing the Power 5 schools every year. And Luke Fickell said it best last year. We don't care who we play. We just want to play. And I love that about him. He does not care about anything with rankings. He just wants to play. He'll play whoever they put on the schedule. And you're talking about a ranking, a preseason ranking with 2 Sun Belt Conference teams in the top 25 this year.
Yeah.
So a few years ago, there was no Sun Belt team in the top 25 ever.
There was no respect for these. Yeah, we're seeing a newfound respect for Group of 5 teams.
Group of 5 in general. You're talking about Boise State, who dominated for years in the Group of 5 and was probably the preliminary Group of 5 school in the country because they can go out there and compete against these Power 5 schools and almost beat them every year or even beat them. But it wasn't anything to be overlooked by because Boise State was obviously very good. Now you're looking at Coastal Carolina walking in, Louisiana. You got App State every year. Now you got Cincinnati. Those are teams you got to look out for because they're no longer that team sitting in the dark. They're in the spotlight. They're going to have eyes on them all year long. Even non-conference teams as like BYU, they have eyes beamed on them this year. You're talking about a team that had a number 5 pick quarterback this last year, number 3, right?
Yeah.
There were two. I was like, I remember. But Zach Wilson is gone, so you have a new offense for this BYU team. So you're going to have eyes all over you. You know, can they do it again? Can they not? You know, Group of Fives really need to step up this year if they want to have that respect that they deserve, because you have the American Conference, which I think is better than a few other Power 5 conferences. So, you know, this is like, I want to say this is the year that Group of 5 makes a splash.
Yeah. And I like what you say, because it goes into what we were saying. There's no reason that a Group of 5 team can't make it. Like you said, I don't think, one, they've had the respect. I don't think that they've had the benefit of a high-ranking preseason. And I don't think that they've necessarily had the schedule to back that up. You talked about some teams. Cincinnati has the perfect storm to crash the party this year. Sitting number 8 in the AP poll. I mean, Ralph, and when we look at this, I want to read this off. Ahead of them, Iowa State, Texas A&M, Georgia, Oklahoma, Alabama. All of those teams are Big 12 or SEC. So let's just say Clemson goes undefeated and Ohio State goes undefeated. They punch their ticket, okay? Between Alabama, Oklahoma, Georgia, A&M, and Iowa State, those teams eventually are going to have to play one another and beat up on one another. So who knows what could happen? But I'm just saying, I think, like you said, it's the perfect storm this year for the Group 5 team to make a playoff. We're going to talk more about that. But, man, just lastly, college football, man, it's back. It's just it's so good. Ralph, what are you looking forward to in that week 0? I didn't even ask you about that. We can look that up real quick. I think there's a good – is it Nebraska plays, you know, somebody –
Someone plays Hawaii.
Hawaii and UCLA?
Nebraska, and then Nebraska and Illinois. First game on Saturday. Well, hold on, Bryce. Oh, that's next week. I'm sorry. I was going to say the following week on Thursday, you got UAB and Jacksonville State.
Mm-hmm.
What am I looking forward to, Bryce? I'm waiting to wake up on Saturday morning and hear the College Game Day theme song just start up. That's what I'm waiting to hear.
That's going to be awesome.
God, you got to love it, man. You got to love college football.
It's going to be fantastic. We're going to have our team-by-team previews. We got Florida, we got Georgia, we got Alabama, Auburn coming up. It's going to be a ton of fun. We already had our Sun Belt one last week. You check that on Apple Podcasts. Hey, we're on Spotify. We're also on Anchor as well. Ralph, I think we should do a giveaway. If you leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast, and Ralph's going to do it right now so you can be a part of the giveaway. Ralph, I'll just get you this, Ralph. I'll give it to you. You don't have to worry about it. We're going to have to come up with a giveaway. Maybe we're thinking about a Crowded Booth mug. Maybe we're thinking about some stickers, something like that. We have to get a nice little mug. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out and see. But, hey, we appreciate everyone tuning in. If you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, let us know. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. We continue to talk. And, Ralph, one thing we really hadn't talked about, you and I are going to come out with an article here soon, the top 5 high school matchups. High school football starts this week. It's way too hot, but they're starting anyways. Got a lot of big-time matchups. And, Ralph, just real quick, 2 Columbus guys were part of the AJC Super 11. Elijah Pritchett, the tackle for Carter, and Michael Williams, so the city of Columbus being represented. What can you tell us just real quick about the talent in Columbus? And obviously we know that it's been there, but to me it's seemingly on the rise. You have a lot of talented guys across a lot of different programs.
I mean, Michael Williams, if you don't know who he is, he has been on an uprise the past 2 years. I'm a guy who's a 5-star defensive tackle, defensive end who is, I think, bulked up in his offseason. He looks slimmer because he looks like he wants defensive end outside linebacker in college at USC, which he's committed to USC, not South Carolina, Southern California now. He's committed, and we've heard some rumors that it's still technically not done yet until he signs that paper in December. It's not done. And Elijah Pritchett, who is, I mean, honestly, Bryce, I'll say he came out of nowhere to me. He's a very talented offensive tackle from Carver, who leads one of the dominant college or high school football teams in Columbus in the past 30 years.
In the state,
Oh, in the state too. I mean, but with schools like Buford and all them up there in Atlanta, those Atlanta schools get really big and they're 10 times better than they have been. But Carver, who has put some of the best college football players in the country out of their school, with Jarvis Jones, Gabe Wright, Isaiah Crowell, Jawan Pass, who played at Louisville. I know I'm forgetting a few. Jawan Pass's brother played at Louisville. I mean, you're talking about if you want to go play college football, go to Carver. Elijah Pritchett is he's so talented that I feel like he gets overlooked because of the talent in Columbus right now. He kind of goes under the radar. He's not that show off player. He's not gonna be flashy on the field. He's gonna go out there, do his job, win the battle, and go home. And that's what he likes to do.
Give me your sleeper player in the Chattahoochee Valley. I've got mine, and I'll go ahead and give mine.
I got two technically.
Well, then let me give one, and then if it's one of yours, you go.
Okay.
I'm going Teo Todd, quarterback from Troup County High School with Tanner Glisson. I mean, they have first of all, they have a fantastic matchup. If you're in the area, you need to head up to Harris County because Harris County against Troup is going to be a great matchup to watch. But just Teo Todd, obviously we saw what he did his freshman year. To me, he's only going to get better as he gets bigger, faster, stronger. Ralph, for you, who's a sleeper player you're looking at to see kind of do some things here in 2021?
You went with a younger guy, so I'm going to go with two older guys. Okay. And one is the Vanderbilt commit, Katie Hutchinson from Harris County. With that matchup, Katie is just an awesome kid. He's so talented. He loves the game of football. He wants to be the best out there, and he can be, and he will be. And then Central Phoenix City running back Jordan Moultrie, who is a bulldozer of a running back if you look at him, you wouldn't think that, and then he goes out there and plows you over. So Jordan Moultrie, Katie Hutchinson, those are the two names to look out for this fall because they're going to make a name for themselves leading their teams to the playoffs easily.
Yeah, they will. That matchup's going to be fantastic to watch. We're going to be out at some games we can't wait as well. Ralph, it's been a pleasure having you. We'll see you on Monday. Make sure to check us out at thecrowdbooth.com. Follow us on all social media pages. You can follow Ralph as well. What is it? Ralph_Leary on Twitter.
No,
and then just Ralph Leary. And then I think what I really want Ralph to change is his Instagram name because every time I tag him in something on the Crowded Booth, it says @Wreck-It-Ralph. It's good. It's good. But no, anyways, we appreciate you watching. For Ralph and myself, we say so long. We'll see you on Monday. Enjoy the weekend. And man, College Football Central starting on Monday. It's going to be a ton of fun. We appreciate it, and we hope you tune in.